This video is sponsored by the Ark Echoes of Arcadia Light RP. Hello and welcome, and in today's video I'm going to share with you the top 10 Ark speed tames. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. In at number 10 we have got the Shadowmane, and the reason why this creature is here on the list is because it is just so fast at traveling on ground. It's kind of insane. And you could say, oh yeah, there's loads of creatures like the Thyla which would be great for doing this as well. Well, personally from my experience, the Shadowmane just does it better, and you'll see it here in just a second, because on this B-roll for some reason I did the wrong thing first and then I actually end up doing the right thing. But either way, this thing can just jump along crazy distances, and it can swim really fast as well, which definitely does benefit to its speed. It is such a quick creature. Obviously its only main downside being how slow it is to tame, going against its quick nature of course. But either way, very quick tame, very useful for bosses and all things like that. And it does have natural armor as well, and as you can see there, you can see it swimming in the water, and it is definitely pretty quick in that environment too. Next up we have got the Deinonychus, and these creatures are super speedy, and although they don't have the jumping abilities of the Deinonychus, I generally think they just tend to be a little bit faster on ground. I know they can't go under the water as well, so you might disagree with me there, but just generally for ground travel I find these things to be a lot faster, and they can jump around and do all of those things as well. Obviously they can't jump to the heights of a Shadowmane, but you don't really need that. They also can deal a ton of bleed damage to any kind of creature. Doesn't really credit to their speed, but it does credit to the speed that they kill things. But that is not obviously what this list is about. But if you didn't realise already, Deinonychus is a very quick mount, much faster than something like the Raptor. It has the pack buff as well, capable of doing all kinds of parkour and scaling any kind of vertical surface, wall, anything like that. Shadowmane can't do that actually, but the Shadowmane can go invisible and this thing can't. So, you know, there's always trading blows on either side, and yep, this creature is in at number 9 spot. Now, as I stated earlier, this video is sponsored by the Ark Echoes of Arcadia Light RP, and I'm really thankful for them reaching out for me. But I want to tell you why this is the best Ark server out there. It is the most immersive RP server by far. I love all of the time that I've spent with it, and so far I've thoroughly enjoyed all the playthrough, and that is due to daily and weekly large events. So you get an event daily, but you get a weekly large event. On top of that, there's 9 GB of DLC full conversion, which just adds a whole new way to play. There's a fresh wipe at the moment as well, so if you want to get started, you really can do well. There's over 60 mods, over 75 new creatures, there's all the DLC creatures there, it's on the center. You are going to have the best time on this map. And there's even 12 unique basic classes. And with a server like this with 100% uptime, there's really nothing that can go wrong. So scan the QR code on screen, or there'll be a link in the description to join the server right away. Next up we have got the Pteranodon, and you definitely can't discredit this thing for its speed, especially as a flyer, and there are some much faster flyers out there. It still definitely is not one of the slow ones like the RG and the Quet and all of that. And although I can very much deal and cope with the RG speed, it's one of my favourite creatures actually in the game. You know, this thing does travel at quite a significant amount faster at that default speed, and you do have that spin attack as well. Not just great for PvP raids, but also great for generating a lot of speed, and also if you want to drain stamina fast for some reason, it's really good doing that. But yes, as you can probably tell, it's not a gliding flyer, which obviously would make it just a better, quicker flyer, but still, just for general flying around, it really does get the job done. It flies relatively quickly, and it's tamed from such an early level. A Pteranodon really is one of those creatures where I think everyone should be taming one, probably because of that speed. Next up, we've got the Crystal Wyvern, but also just the normal Wyvern as well. They're pretty much interchangeable. Just think the Crystal Wyverns look nicer for the purpose of the video, so that's why I put them here on the list instead of the normal Wyverns, but the same applies to the normal Wyvern as well. They are really fast creatures going across the map. They're actually like one of the fastest just flyers flying normally, which definitely does make them pretty quick, and it's noticeably faster than something like a Pteranodon. It's why the Wyvern trenches are so hard to get into and out of on Scorched Earth, because Wyverns are just so fast. Like, once you have one, you realize the only downside really to that speed is the horrible turning circle which you get on these things. It's like worse than a lorry on a road. It's like, really, why is the turning circle so bad? But you know, at least their speed is pretty decent. Next up, we have got the Griffin, and this creature really just does need to be here. And I'm kind of going to put the Desmodus here as well, another gliding creature, and they are just so quick in the air. Obviously this is with some buff movement speed. None of the other B-roll is with buff movement speed, but this Griffin B-roll is because you know, I just had some extra movement speed on at the time. They don't quite travel at this speed. You can definitely see the game struggling there, but the game does kind of seem to struggle with Griffins anyway, just at normal speeds. It really just showed they go really fast, and it's because of that gliding ability that they travel with such speed. If the gliding ability didn't exist for this creature, then the Wyvern would be a faster option, but because of that gliding ability, the Griffin is able to fly at much faster speeds, and also they're pretty heavy damage dealers as well, making them even better for a fast creature, as they're fast and get around and they can deal tons of damage as well. Really amazing creature. Next up, we've got the Snow Owl, and I just feel like this deserves it to be in a league ahead, although maybe technically it might not be any faster than the Griffin or the Desmodus. I'm pretty sure it is, and at least to me, when riding around on it, it feels faster and snappier to me than the Griffin and the Crystal, not the Crystal Wyvern, the Desmodus. And obviously this is going to look slower, but you know that Griffin was heavily buffed in movement speed, and I am kind of very gently taking it. The whole thing just feels a lot smoother on something like the Snow Owl, and it just feels like a more agile creature to ride around on. It also just feels a bit more maneuverable. Maybe I got it wrong on the speed front here, but still, personally, for me, I think it's faster. But if I really have made a mistake on that one, then comment that below, and my opinions will probably change after the making of this video. Obviously, they're not just used for speed. They have that kind of heat-seeking ability, which makes them pretty good for finding anything that you might want, players or just small creatures or anything like that. And obviously they can heal up creatures as well by freezing them. That's why I want those of stamina on a creature like this. As you know, the more stamina you have, the longer you can heal a creature up for, not just so you can fly over longer distances. Next up, we have got the Rock Drake, and this creature really does deserve to be here. The Rock Drake has an immensely fast speed, and it is a glider as well. Definitely faster than all the other creatures we have mentioned so far, and it is really quick, speedy and agile on the land too, which makes this an even better creature for that speed. And although some people are probably going to expect the Galley to be on this list, there is going to be no Gallimimus on this list coming up, and this thing completely demolishes the Gallimimus in general speed. Sorry Galley fans, or just general Syntac fans, because they usually tend to be correlated because of Syntac and Galleys. Yeah, you're not going to get the Galley in this video, but I guess he got a quick honourable mention in the number 4 spot, which is the Rock Drake, although I would definitely have not put it this high if it was in the list. Maybe chuck it in at number 10 or something like that, but the Shadowmane is still a lot faster than something like the Galley, and obviously it can travel over much longer distances because of that jumping ability, and it can obviously swim a lot faster too. Whereas with the Rock Drake, it can just dart from rock to rock and just glide incredible speeds, and you know, its walking pace isn't too bad either. In at the number 3 spot, we have got the Managama, and there is no lie that the Managama is one of the fastest creatures in the game that is Ark. These creatures can just travel with such speed. It is sort of insane how fast they can actually go, and I'm always very shocked every time I use one of these. And also, I do want to give a quick mention to the gas bags as well, as you can get some pretty reasonable speed with that creature as well, although I wouldn't put it in number 3 spots. For you gas bag speed lovers, that is another pretty fast Ark speed tame as well, which you should probably look into if you're looking for some fast tames. You just saw 2 of them there as that Managama just went by them. And this creature isn't just used for speed, it can also freeze loads of creatures as well, which obviously makes it extremely OP, has been nerfed since release. And the stamina drain isn't too bad either, which kind of matters for a fast creature. Obviously it's not going to demote its fastness, but it can be even faster if it has more stamina, because it can be fast over longer distances. Therefore, in the grand scheme of time, it just is generally a faster creature, which obviously is going to make it a faster creature because you get the maths, don't you? Just got stuck in the wall there. Proof that Ark is a game with no bugs and glitches whatsoever. In at number 2, we have got the Maywing. Makes sense why this thing is here, to be honest. It's just a really fast, quick glider. Obviously, that really helps its benefits. Probably the fastest one out there. It can skim over the top of water. Really fast under the water as well, which definitely plays a huge benefit to this thing. And I just generally really love and enjoy this creature for its speed. Now, before we get into the number 1 spot, we do really need to talk about some honorable mentions that haven't made the list. Firstly, I do want to talk about the Rhino Ganatha. That creature does actually pack some pretty decent speed, maybe some which you wouldn't expect from its size. Also, the Tropiognathus and Astrodelphis need to be mentioned on this list as well, as they can absolutely rip through the map with their jetpack-like saddles. And actually, you might even consider putting them in at number 1 once you hear what I've got there. But personally, just for general use and speed, I've kind of combined it a bit there. I think that creature is better suited. So with that, let's just get into the number 1 spot. And in at number 1, we have got the Bloodstalker. And I would definitely say this is a controversial one for speed. Yes, it does take quite a lot of learning to really get it up there. And in this B-roll, absolutely terrible at flying. I've thus improved a lot more since then, and I didn't really use that as much as a water creature back then. Didn't even show it underwater in this B-roll, but is uncontested in my opinion for underwater travel. It is so good for all of that. I really do urge you to try it, and obviously you can see the aggros of all the creatures as well, which makes it pretty great for underwater exploration. Get away from everything really quickly. Surfacing is easy. Like, the maneuverability of this thing is absolutely insane. Everyone should at least try this out one time in their general Ark playing, and obviously you can just swing so quickly from place to place. Obviously this is really not a great demonstration of Bloodstalker flying, but you can really gather some huge speed with these things, especially on the original biome, on the original map that they're intended for. Obviously, you know, you're not going to be in that place all the time, but it doesn't matter. They can still pack loads of speed outside of it, and that is why I have put the Bloodstalker in at number 1. But anyway, that is the end of today's video, and I really hope that you all enjoyed, as I did definitely enjoy making it. As always, comment down below what is the speediest Ark Tame in your opinion, and if you didn't agree, put your 10 in the comments down below. And with that, I'll see you all later.